So we've got 3 people on already. Hello, everybody. So comment that I can see that you're here and we know who we're talking to.
Hello.
So I want to introduce you. Hey, Florence, how are things? Hey, Janine. And Nicola has joined in. So we'll have a few people joining in. Pam is here as well. Linda Lopez. Linda is actually in New York. Joe, hi Joe, Teresa. So we've got a lot of people coming in. So we've got 20 people on at the moment. So it'll go up. So hey Nicola, how are you keeping? And Laura is also in the States. Hey June, how are you keeping? So I want to introduce you to a lady that I know, and she is such a lovely person. Okay, so her name is Andrea Dalton, and Andrea is a hypnotherapist, a healer, and a life coach. So she's got so many hats that she wears. Oh, Laura, you're in New York as well. So Laura is also tuning in from New York. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I know that it's 4 p.m. you know, for people in New York, so it's quite early to sit down with a cup of tea, but it's great to have you all on. So Andrea, thanks a million for joining us, because we had Paul on last week, but and everybody loved it. So I wanted to get a different perspective, and I'm really interested in finding out about your healing. Okay, I know you have other things that you do, but and I know that everything complements each other, and that's the one thing about using different modalities, isn't it?
It is, because everybody is unique. And first of all, can I just say thanks very much for having me on, and for everybody tuning in. I really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy it. So yes, what I have found with the different modalities, when somebody comes to me, we are all so unique and special that one size does not fit all. So it's just a tool in the box that I can pull out should one tool not quite do what I want it to help you. Exactly. So I help transform people's lives, physically losing emotional weight to become stress and anxiety free. And sometimes when they're so stressed and anxious, they're living in a really high state of alert all the time, that they don't know who they are afterwards when the anxiety is gone. They really, you know, it's kind of, oh, who am I? You know, I don't know if I like this person, or if I'm going to become a nice person, even though they're lovely, of course, when they come to you. Yes. But they're just wound up so much all the time, you know?
Yeah, it's hard. And I don't know, have you noticed it? Because I keep saying to people, over the last 2 or 3 years, I've noticed a huge shift in energy.
Yeah,
I really have. And people are taking so much to heart, and they're carrying so much baggage, you know. And like when people say to me, like, what do you do? And I say, well, everything that I do is just a tool. That's my toolbox. My ultimate goal is your wellness and your empowerment. You know, and we all work for the same goals. People think that you and I will be in competition with each other, and that's so not the truth.
No, the world, like, everybody's out there to help, and I love being, like yourself, love being of service to somebody. If and when they get a breakthrough, it is fantastic. And it doesn't matter, Sandie, if I was living right next door to you.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
They're drawn, you know, the law of attraction, people are drawn who they want to go to for a reason.
Exactly. So I can't wait to hear. So I'm going to cut to the chase, because I know you do 2 different kinds of healing. And I would love if you would explain to us what those 2 types are and the difference. Would you choose a different one for a different feeling?
Well, yeah, the thing that I would work with most, I suppose, is my absolute passion. And that helped me to get to a healthy place, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And that is bioenergy therapy. So it's working with your 7 main chakras. You have them on the wall there behind you. Yeah. We have 7 main ones. The root will be down between your legs, if you like, single chakra connected in with the earth. You have, that's red. You would have your beautiful orange sacral just under your belly button, the seat of all of your emotions, where we bury stuff deep down. Then going up under, say, your just under your rib cage will be your solar plexus, your drive and your ambition, and your, you know, you're going to be doing loads of things. Yellow, you would have green for the physical heart, pink for the emotional heart, and then blue for your throat chakra, indigo and for your brow, so your dreams,
third eye, yeah,
bringing into your life, and then the white crown chakra, connected with divinity and everything cosmically up above, which I absolutely love. I think I'm more up there than down here.
Do you know, I'd love to be up there more than down here, but we have to live in the real world too, unfortunately. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, you're grand. So basically, with the busyness of life, our body can become so full of things, and the energy can become trapped and stagnant. So instead of flowing up and down freely and in and out through 5 of the 7 main chakras, it can become stuck. So if you think of a vase of flowers, somebody's after giving you a beautiful vase of flowers, and you're so good for a few days changing the water. And then gradually, as time comes on, you change it less and less, and that water becomes cloudy. Yes. That's exactly like your energy body. So your chakras work about an inch or so off your body, and we just draw the energy out, clearing it so you have that free flow again, and it doesn't get into your meridian systems, which have been mapped, and traditional Chinese medicine would use meridians, so it doesn't get into your physical body and cause you dis-ease.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it can actually work against you. I suppose like any part of your body, they can work against you.
Yeah. So with the chakras, we because it's not actually in your physical body, they're outside your body. We just draw the energy out, and there are techniques that you can learn. And you know, I would get words, sometimes images, sometimes colors, very randomly, and I'll say it to the person. Initially, when I started out, I was like, oh no, couldn't say that. But I realized over time it's important for them to hear it. It might not resonate with them then and there, but when they go home over the days or weeks, they say, oh my goodness, remember you said. So it's part of their journey to help them heal, you know.
Okay.
And
tell me this now, because I know, and I don't know that much about healing, I'll be honest with you, because I've heard of Reiki. I'm actually a qualified Rahani healer myself, although I don't use it anymore. And they all kind of center a little bit around the chakras, don't they?
They do.
So is there a difference?
Is there a difference with?
We'd say the Reiki, the Rahani, the bioenergy.
There are slight differences. A Reiki, I'm not an expert in it by any means of manner, but I do know, I think they use symbols where we wouldn't use symbols in bioenergy, but the ultimate goal is always to get that person to a better place. Okay. So for me, you know, the modality, it doesn't necessarily matter once it absolutely helps that person.
That's fair enough, yeah.
Once their mind is open, just a crack to get that help, you know you've a way in. But if that door is shut, no matter what you want to do, like some of my family members are going, oh my God, she's for the birds, what's she at? And that's fine, that's where they are in life at the moment. But for me, I know that there are alternatives and you can help in different ways. You just have to be open.
Yes. So you mentioned another one, havening, is that what it's called?
Oh, havening techniques. So I actually had the privilege of learning that last year with Stephen Rudin. He's a twin who co-founded Havening Techniques, and it's phenomenal. So I'll just do a little demo. So you brush. Years ago, have you ever seen a child upset and they might do this? They might rock themselves, so they're self-soothing, or somebody giving themselves a hug. Or now, unfortunately, with COVID-19, you know, I would be a big hugger and I really miss that. Obviously, I can do it with the people in my home, but I can't do it with my parents. So hugging relieves so many happy endorphins in your system, and it's really, really good. And it's the connection with people. Yes. So the Rudins came up with the idea that when you have in somebody, so it's just brushing, you're creating delta waves in your brain. And these delta waves, now the most amount of delta waves will be in your face, so that's face havening, which we don't really do anymore because of COVID.
COVID, of course.
And then you would do palm havening. And it's by doing this, you get this wonderful, amazing feel-good feeling all around your body. Touch can be so frowned upon in today's society, and a lot of the healing modalities, the bioenergy, even though you work about an inch off the body, you might, you know, tip off somebody. They don't really want you doing that anymore. So, really? And some people don't. If you think of elderly people, especially now, they mightn't have anybody else in the house with them. The only person they might see is the postman, and he hands
really important. Yeah.
Such feeling and emotional beings that we actually do need touch, and we do need social interaction physically rather than on the internet or Zoom or the children. So by doing this, you're releasing the trauma from the body. And it's fantastic for fears, phobias, PTSD and complex PTSD. It has been proven, trialed and tested with people who have seen horrific horrors in the wars. And it's very, very gentle, and it releases the trauma in the body and in the mind.
Yeah.
And it can be as quick as 3 to 7 minutes. And
And
then there's different types of havening, where there's affirmational having, which I would use as well. So an affirmation is where you would, one that saved me, for instance, I say it all the time, Sandie, is everything always works out for me. So you can build that into the havening and get the person to own it and feel it and believe it. Again, it's changing what's going on in the brain, and it's reaffirming to them that yes, everything is always going to be okay. Everything's always going to work out for me.
So it's building in the law of attraction as well.
Exactly. And you can build an affirmation around that individual in front of you, whatever they need at that time. And then we have affirmational havening. And it's all when you're doing this. If something happens, this will happen. This will work out. If this event happens that I'm going to, I see myself enjoying it and it working out very well.
Yes.
You could do role havening, where say a parent has died with, of course, the permission of the client, and maybe the client never got to say I love you, or if they were angry with the parent, say they never got things off their chest, I can take on the role with their permission of the parent and feedback what they've said. But with these delta waves being generated in their head, it's like the parent is actually there in their own imagination saying it.
That's beautiful though, isn't it? Because
Yeah,
people do need that release.
It
is. I
is.
get it all the time.
Yeah.
But as well as that, when you're coming, like you're talking about the touch and that we're not allowed to touch, and and it's kind of disappearing from society, and even going forwards, they're not recommending that we get within a certain distance of people. But I've done workshops in the past where we've worked with the power of the aura, and actually connecting with someone's aura, and just without actually touching somebody, with actually putting my hands into their aura. So just a couple of inches from their body, I can actually move somebody. Yeah. So you can work with that energy. So when you're getting up close to somebody, you're in that energy, and you can bring your energy in to alter their energy. So, I mean, it's really important sometimes that we come close to people.
It is. It absolutely is. And particularly if somebody is really on the emotional scale, really down and in despair and hopelessness, you're going to be vibrating at a higher level. So they'll always want a nugget of your energy. Yeah, you don't allow them to touch, and you get them to transform and come up that level until they're in the better feeling that they're able for at that moment. But you're talking about your little minor chakras here. So we have about 28 minor chakras. Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody who's on.
Not at all.
2 of them that you work with here. And even by doing this, Sandie, you're activating them. And you can actually get yourself to feel the energy between your 2 hands. I love seeing children do. They get so excited.
Yes.
And then you can dip your hands, as you said, into somebody's actual aura. And if they're particularly sensitive, which the person could have been for you, they'll move all over the room.
Well, when you're in a workshop environment, people are open. They're surrendering themselves to that energy, so it's easier to get people to move. But yeah, it's totally possible. And the healing that I do, because some people call it trance healing, some people call it spiritual healing, but I don't actually do the healing. So it's the spirit energy, and it comes out through my chakras in my hands. So I actually have to put my hand in. It's just put my hand on someone's shoulder. I don't have to feel a particular part of the body or anything. It depends on who comes in. But it's just put my hand on someone's shoulder, and they can feel the heat energy coming out through my hand. So I haven't yet learned to, translate that over the internet. Yeah. But you do healing over the internet, which is amazing.
You absolutely can. And a lot of it is with your intention. So before any session I would do, whether it's hypnotherapy, haven and calm, life coaching, my intention is set to help that person. And then you can equally get their intention. What is your intention?
Yeah,
what is your
that's
intention
true.
for the session? And you can bring that in and have it completely aligned, then the two to help. And like you, I never say that I am a healer. Everything works through me.
Yes.
For them. I'm just a facilitator. That's just the way I look at myself. I have been shown, luckily, to how to use the techniques and guided the protocols, especially in the hidden mind. Now, I don't use that so much anymore, but it is a very, very good, powerful in-depth protocol into the entire body, and generations gone past out to the side, aunts and uncles, when a child is in utero, because they're suspended in, you know, in that amniotic fluid, so they're neither here nor there. Yes. And then generations to come welcoming them in, you know. So there's so much out there
that
can help people. They just have to be open.
Now, I have a question for you from Helen, and she's asking, can this, I presume she means havening, but I mean, for you as the expert, a child with trauma, can these methods of healing help a child with trauma?
Absolutely. And havening would be my go-to for a child.
Okay.
Because it's so gentle. And then we can go at a pace that the child is comfortable with. Once the child is comfortable with touch, you know, otherwise I might revert to energy work where I'm clearing out their head a little bit so that they're a little bit more open. But we can practice on their teddies. I can co-facilitate with the parent to teach them how to haven and get the maximum out of the session until the child is comfortable enough in session 2 for me to haven them. Now, it would all be done over the internet at the moment, but it works just the same as the person's in the room with you. And especially for a child, it's lovely.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you know, unfortunately, children go through so much, don't they? The whole saying, suffer little children, really is true. So, Helen, I hope that helps. And if anybody has any questions, I'm just keeping an eye on the comments here. So you can post your questions for Andrea and I'll read them out to her. And Paula McKevitt says to you, it's a beautiful explanation on havening. And I actually saw somebody... Paula McKevitt.
Oh, Paula. I saw because he's the poster boy for havening.
Oh, is he really?
He is, yes. Hello,
Paula says she uses havening as well in her work.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And I think we have a fan of yours here. Marie says, you're so kind and gentle and lovely to work with. Marie O'Sullivan. So the other thing, I mean, I'm not going to cut you off on the healing, but I do want to ask you as well, because you're also a life coach, okay? So maybe I could ask you, just for people who've never encountered a life coach before, you know, why would you approach a life coach? What can you help people with?
So I had 2 life coaches, and I found it very good for me to find out what direction I'm taking in life, what I want to take in life. So you might come to a stage in your life where you're unhappy in your job, or you're not sure what job you're going to go into, or there's some area of your life not working. And what we do is basically the answers are within everybody. Yeah. We never ask them, we never ask them, we never tell them. The answer is already there. So it's like me with set questions, shining a light on that path so they can see the direction that they want to go in. And one of the tools that we use for that would be a balance wheel. So it's a circle, and then it's a scale from 0 to 10, 0 being you're unhappy, 10 you're very fulfilled. So it would be, say, are you know, your work, your relationships, socially, are you doing anything to help your mental health, your emotional health, your physical health? So it can be much more than that, and based on that we get them to draw a circle, or it could be a very buckety circle depending on how many, you know, how big the gap is between 0 and 10 on each rung, if you like, each segment in their life. And that's where we could start. And usually when you get one thing coming up better in their life, the other areas in their life improve as well.
It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, I always say that to people, that you know, when you have a negativity in one area of your life, it spills over. It's like the Titanic. The water goes over the boundaries all the time.
Brilliant analogy. Brilliant.
Yeah, because my 12-year-old loves the movie Titanic. Every time it's on telly. So I've got this thing about the water going over the bulkheads. So, I mean, obviously then it can help you with every aspect of life. Anything you're finding trouble with, if you feel you've got a block somewhere, you've hit a plateau with something, the life coaching obviously can help. So that brings me on to our next question, I suppose. And probably one of the reasons that, you know, I thought that you would be a great fit here, because so many people are telling me that they're hitting a wall, especially, I don't know, what are we, 8 or 9 weeks into it now? We're locked down since about the 11th of March. And people are starting to hit a wall, and they're really starting to, you know, lose it and really get frustrated. Do you have any tips for people? You know, just with the mental health side of things.
With the mental health side of things, well, one of the best things I can tell you to do is declutter if you haven't already. Okay. So your physical home can be a representation of your actual body, as can your car. So, for instance, your windows to the front will be your outlook on your future, and people looking in, what do they see you as? The back of the house would represent your past. Is your back garden nice and tight and neat? You know.
Yeah.
Your stairs would represent your spine. Above your bed, in particular, if you happen to have an attic, is it tidy? Is it tidy? There's tons of clutter over your head. You're like, it's where you spend 8 hours usually a night sleep. If you get a good night's sleep, are you being blocked? Is your creativity being blocked? And under your stairs, my God, mine was a disgrace before this.
Blocked out.
All of a sudden, it just seems to, you know, the clutter gathers. So under your stairs would represent your subconscious mind.
Really?
Is it tidy?
So interesting.
Yeah, so you can relate lots back to the physical body, as I said, with your car as well. You know, is your car running properly, or is it slowed down completely? That represents your physical body too. Wow. So a great thing, and I know a lot of friends have done it, and I actually ran a little challenge, and I had a little bit of elements of decluttering in it. Declutter what you can, in particular your bedroom, because that's where you're spending a lot of your time. Breath is so important, you know. So if you're very anxious, if you're getting stressed, there's a couple of different breathing techniques. Breathe in for the count of 4. You're going to hold that breath for the count of 7, and then you'll slowly exhale that breath for the count of 8.
Really? Okay.
You repeat that a few times. That's a really nice one. Another nice one that I've learned recently, because I'm always open to more learning, from a friend of mine. It's box breathing, and this works particularly well if you wake up several times in the middle of the night, but you must practice it during the day.
Yeah. So
you breathe in for the count of 4, hold that breath for the count of 4, then you slowly exhale for the count of 4, and then you do nothing for the count of 4. Okay, so you're like holding. Yeah, you're just doing nothing. You're not breathing in, you're not breathing, you're gonna like that. Just 4 though, yeah. If you practice that during the day, Sandie, a few times, your mind and your body will get used to that, and your lungs will get used to that count 4, 4, 4, 4. Yeah. And then if you're waking up at night and do that, you'll go back to, you should in theory go back to sleep a lot quicker. That might definitely help. Try that, because I'm at the end of my tether for sleeping at the moment. Okay. Well, can I ask you a question? Just something interesting you were saying there about the attic above you. We actually have our attic converted. There's a huge room up there, which I used to have my office in, but my husband has his work from home office up there now. Like it's completely converted. There's a full stairs up to and everything. So with that office being above my bedroom, is that what's keeping me in work mode? It could be keeping you in work mode. Yeah. It could. Is anything right above you? Or are you? His desk and his computer. Yeah, so you could move that. You could move that to one side. Yeah, but the good news is I love you. Your desk and your computer is not in your room, which some people have to have. Oh yeah, no, it's not. So you'd put a cover over that. Then you could put a cover over that. Okay. But just ask those thoughts, whatever's coming into your head. You could just say, stop. Okay. Or another good one, you might do it already, Sandie, is to journal. Journal out those thoughts. Yeah. Put pen to paper. That's another one. And gratitude for the day is a great one. So bad to write. There's always someone worse off in the world than you are. No matter how bad things get, usually there is unfortunately somebody more worse off than you are. So in the morning when I wake up, one of the first things I do, and last things at night, will be gratitude. So at night, say, I'm grateful for having a lovely day. I'm grateful for having got out for a walk. I'm grateful for, the lovely weather outside. God, I'm grateful for this bed I'm lying in. I'm grateful for the roof over my head. So gratitude is huge. And by sending out that gratitude, you're going to receive so much more in return, again, with the law of attraction. And as I said, there's a lot of people a lot worse off in the world. No matter how bad your day is, you still got breath in your lungs. You can breathe easy. Yeah, it's true. There's a lot like that. Affirmations, as I said before, everything always works out for me. I have another one. I love money. Money loves me, you know. But it's whatever you want it to be. Today is going to be easy. I'm going to have a wonderful day. And if you repeat it over and over again, if you're trying to lose weight, I am slim. I'm eating this and I feel great. I feel fantastic. I am slim. I am slimming down.
And just for anybody that's watching this, can you hear what she's saying? Because I'm consistently saying to people, it must be in the present tense. Always, you know, you can't say, I want this, or I'm going to have that. And even, Andrea, everything you say, it's always in the present tense, you know? So it's just to reaffirm that to people. And I always say to people, always say, I am happy at the end of it. Everything that you say, I am slim and I am happy. You know, I am living in my dream house and I am happy. Helen is saying it's that trapped feeling, your restriction to the outside world.
Well, you can do a couple of things about that, Helen. If you have a door that you can look out at, get out and open the door and breathe and take 5 deep breaths in. Hold them and slowly let them, you know, release them. Repeat that 5 times. You can open your window and it's giving you a different perspective on life. Yes, you might be looking at a similar view all the time, but you can open your window. Okay. You could close your eyes and imagine you're somewhere else. And your imagination doesn't know, your mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and imagined. And for a few moments in time, or a prolonged few moments, you can transport yourself to somewhere else. Yeah. And that can be quite easy to do.
And powerful though.
And that can give you a little break as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like, I hate to call something a meditation because the word meditation scares people, because it brings up these visions of sitting in the lotus position, chanting for hours. And you know, that's not necessarily what meditation's about. It's like an escape, isn't it? You know, like you're saying, you know, imagining yourself somewhere. You know, and this is the first thing that I always say to people when I'm trying to talk them into a trance or into something. It's like, just imagine yourself, you know, somewhere where you felt the most happy and the most safe in your life. You know, just get yourself out of that headspace that you're in at the moment. So it's kind of like that, but you're looking for freedom more than anything else. And Christine is saying she loves conscious spaces. Hey, Christine.
Lovely. Lovely.
Yeah. So it's just that escapism a little bit, isn't it?
It is. So and you can read. Sorry?
No, I was just saying there's so much in it. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Oh, you're grand. You're grand. There's a huge amount in it. And like, so many people know so much more than I do. You know, that's why it's a lifelong learning for me. Yeah. Another great thing you could do in the morning, which I actually do most mornings, much to my kids' annoying, is turn on some really high vibrational tunes and just dance it out. Dance it out in the morning, dance it out in the kitchen in the day, change that energy up, laugh, move. You know, Helen, unfortunately, you can't get out for a walk. For others, you might be able to get out for a walk and just take in all that's around us. Because right now, you know, I'm much more aware personally of all the birds, the chorus, even though it's quite early in the morning. I don't think I've ever heard birds sing as much.
I was saying that to my husband. It's just amazing. It's like the wildlife population around here, because there's always planes and helicopters. We've got a flight club just down the road from us here. So there's always little planes going around, and we're also on the US to Shannon flight path. Okay. So we're on that as well. And it's just, it's like, I don't know, just while it's been quiet, and it's really only these past 3 days that we start to notice a lot of cars on the road again. So I hope it doesn't go as busy as it was before. It's just a different world at the moment.
Well, that's what I'm saying to people at the moment. Do you want everything back that you had before COVID-19 hit? Do you want to be back on that treadmill? Or are there elements that you want to have and other things that you can change up or just leave behind altogether? Because now is a fantastic opportunity for change for people and the planet.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, no, and I'm the same as you with the music, because even you dialed into me there before we came on air, and I had the music there in here, didn't I? Because I'm all about the energy that you get from music. I call it my power songs. Yes. And I'm the same, and my kids are like, Ma'am, you're so embarrassing. As if anyone can see me singing and dancing.
Yeah, you got to do it.
Absolutely. Orla has a question for you. Do you have any tips from TMJ jaw pain? Now, I asked her what it means.
Okay, so you've just actually broken up there for a moment, Sandie,
oh, sorry
and
about
I
that.
cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now? Am I back? Yeah, it's just freezing a little bit, so we'll just give it a second. Are you back? Can you hear me now? I always feel I'm like that advert for is it Bacardi or one of them? The man's in Jamaica and he's going, "Can you hear me now?"
Now I can hear you.
You
yeah,
can hear
you're
me now.
moving now.
So Orla's just asking, do you have any tips for TMJ jaw pain? So I asked her what TMJ is, and she said it's a joint disorder. She's got clicking and pain in jaw. I actually have that as well, Orla. My jaw clicks all my life. You can, it looks very attractive, but it clicks away. Go on.
Do I have anything? No, I'm not going to lie. But
Okay.
what I will do is I could research it for her, certainly.
Okay.
But off the top of my head at the moment, no. So I'm not one for saying that I know something when I don't. So I'll be quite honest and say no. Yeah. But if I can find anything, I'll certainly send it to you, Sandie, and if you could send it on.
Absolutely, yeah. Orla's always on the page here. So definitely give it to her. And you know, her comment is here in the comments underneath. So you could even reply to her directly.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
The one thing I would say about it, just holistically speaking, is it's just come to my mind. Is there something that she's not feeling free to say to somebody that she's constantly holding back? And that, or as a child, she was like, you know, you sit there and don't say anything, you can be seen and not heard, which was so common and can be to a degree still, but less so. That can come into her now, and she's kind of biting her words back and that clicky jaw. So it could be something to do with that. I don't know, but I would certainly have a chat with her, or message her afterwards.
Absolutely, and I'd be interested in that myself, because I don't know, is it exactly the same thing? But my jaw clicks. Even when I had my tonsils, the doctor said to me, "What's wrong with your jaw?" He said, "Every time I moved your jaw, it was clicking." And I don't know, is it to do, because I do grind my teeth at night time as well, which is really...
Well, it definitely to be to do with bruxism, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'd be interested in that too, Orla. But she gets pain with hers now. I don't generally with mine. So I suppose she's looking for some relief. Aren't we all looking for some relief?
I think if that's the facial pain, that's really severe. She's getting that facial pain. It's very, very bad.
Because it would cause migraines as well, I'm sure.
You know, you feel on fire, I think, with that. So I'll definitely have a look at it, into it for her.
Yeah, thanks a million. That'd be great. Let's see, do we have it? The bird song is magnificent. Okay, yeah, they're all acknowledging that. It's good to have a dance.
It is.
So we've talked about the healing and we've talked about the life coaching, and you know, this is only skimming the surface with Andrea, just so people know. I mean, there's so much in what you do, and the great thing, I was chatting to her, Andrea there last week, and she was saying, like, it doesn't matter what you come from, you come to her for. You might come to her for life coaching, but you'll benefit from all her healing. You'll benefit from her hypnotherapy, you know, and likewise, if you come for hypnotherapy, you'll also benefit from the life coaching and the healing. So everything complements each other, you know, so you're not just coming for one thing, you know.
Not necessarily.
Depending on what you come from.
Yeah, it does. And if some people come for something specific, as I said, like the anxiety or the stress, and that's resolved, and then at the last session, and this is why I did the life coaching in particular, and it was drawing me in for a few years, but I finally bit the bullet last year. This person standing in front of me that is now has no anxiety or considerably less anxiety, or their stress has been addressed, they really don't know who they are. And in particular, if they have multiple anxieties that are after been resolved, and they're like, who am I? And I always just felt that there was a little bit missing. And that piece of that jigsaw puzzle was the life coaching. Now I can weave it into a program for them to help them find out who they are, help them to know what their values are, what type of a learner they are. And in knowing what type of a learner they are, you know, family members, do they hear things differently? You know why.
It's very true, isn't it? Yeah. We all remember things differently. I was actually talking about the Mandela effect with my boys today. And it's amazing the different memories people have of different things, isn't it?
And it's a different perspective. 5 people reared by the same 2 people can have very different outlooks on what happened in one room in a house at a time.
Oh, big time. Yeah. I mean, with families doing family group readings, sometimes it can descend into arguments. No, Daddy never said that. Well, he said it to me.
And all those energies coming from all those different people as well for you. All that.
And some of them are so strong. Now, Helen Jordan, a different lady, she's on here. She's asking, how do you clear a blocked chakra? So I don't know, is that possible for people to do on their own?
Well, they can actually. So you want to set your intention and just center yourself. And I can actually clear. So there's my throat chakra. So it's like a circular anti-clockwise movement.
Okay.
And you're just clearing. You're just kind of grabbing a hold of it, and then you're going to draw it out and flick it off into white light. Just flick it off. So you can actually do that, or you could just hold your throat. Hold your throat with the intention to clear it.
Yeah.
And then with your throat, because that's your center for communication and creativity, journal, definitely journal. Write down what's kind of, sticking in your throat, if you like, or that's not sitting right with you. Write it down in a journal, rip out those pages, and then burn them. Burn them, let the universe take it off. You don't need to hold it anymore, but it's definitely a form of release for you. Another nice one is actually going to the beach on a windy day and just screaming. Let it out. Just like scream it out, let it out. Let it go.
Work with a pillow, just put your head in a pillow and scream.
Yeah, you can. And the calm method, so that's the Karl-Anthony Method developed by the man who taught me hypnotherapy. He's an Irishman, and it's a rapid emotional release. And what I started, to use that, so I can't actually tell you what the therapy is at the moment, but it's akin to, if you imagine getting a stone, and I actually have one here. Imagine getting a stone. Now it can be big or small or big, whatever you can manage. And you put all of that pent up negative energy into that stone. And you see a person's face on it, and you get that stone and you just throw it, now not at anybody, into a lake, into the sea, into a hillside, but where you're not going to actually physically hurt anybody. The action of that throwing and releasing is huge.
Yeah.
Huge,
And it doesn't literally have to be that you pull something out of your body. It's literally envisaging it going away. It's like on New Year's Eve, I always write down the things that I want to purge from my life at that point, and I burn them. I always light a fire out the back on New Year's Eve and burn them, and I invite people to send me in what they want to purge, and I just print them out and throw them all into the fire, because it's getting rid of all that excess baggage, isn't it?
Absolutely. And you don't need to carry it.
No.
Why would you wouldn't let a child carry it? Why would you carry it?
Yeah. And I'm wearing a different stone today, but I normally wear golden tiger's eye from my throat chakra.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. It does help with the mediumship, but it also helps to open the throat chakra. And I say to people, how we communicate with other people, obviously that's really important, but what's twice as important is how we communicate with ourselves, and that's also controlled by the throat chakra. So it's important to have all your chakras working right. People,
absolutely. And we can have 60 to 80,000 thoughts in our head in a day, and it's kind of going, whoa,
what's going on here?
That is proven, like about so we say approximately 70,000 thoughts, and most of those thoughts are negative.
Really?
Most of those, because we're so great at putting ourselves down.
Yeah, it's true.
It's very hard, in particular, I think, I can only speak for Irish people, but if you give someone a compliment, I got that in pennies, or I got that in Duns, you rarely say, oh, thanks very much. Or they're trying to find a compliment to pay you back.
Yes. Yeah.
Instead of sitting with it and saying, thank you very much. I
notice the American people are great at that. They're so great to accept a compliment, but not be, big-headed about it. They're just, thank you. I'll take that as it was intended. But they're really good at it. Whereas we feel we have to make an excuse for having something nice.
And you're nearly making an excuse for your very existence.
Yeah.
And, people phone you, sorry, it's only me. It's only you. Sorry. Why are you apologizing for yourself? You're fabulous.
Absolutely. I agree 110%. And you actually reminded me when you were talking about the screaming. because I know you mentioned PTSD and war and that, but you don't actually have to have been at war.
No.
You know, because I've actually been diagnosed with PTSD. And I remember a lady telling me once, she said, take a hurley, take a tennis racket, whatever you need, and just up and beat your bed, beat the pillows, beat the cushions, and just scream and let it all out, because it's holding onto it that makes it worse. And it's the same with everything.
Completely. I totally agree with you, Sandie. Totally agree with you.
Gillian was asking, can you use crystals to clear energy? So just what I was saying.
In my second modality, energy modality, investigative and corrective sound therapy. Now, I haven't used it in a good while, but yes, we would use crystals. You would place certain crystals on the thymus gland, for instance, to release tensions, stresses, old energetic ties in your body. Yes, you can. It's not something that I would do anymore as such, because I've changed and morphed and use my therapies in different ways, but my house is full of crystals all over in different areas of the house.
And I find crystals brilliant, and I never believed in them. I wouldn't say I never believed in them. I suppose I never understood them or knew much about them. It was when years ago, when I started my business and I used to do a lot of fairs, I met this lady who sells crystals at the fairs. And I remember, I never sleep, but at the time I really wasn't sleeping, because I was working full time and then doing this the 2 days a week that I was off. So I was doing 7-day weeks, and the bags under my eyes, and she gave me a crystal to help me sleep. Now, it relaxes me. I wouldn't say it necessarily helps me sleep, but it does relax me that little bit. But then I started looking into crystals more, and you can't see it here, but on top of this shelf here, I have a little altar.
Yeah.
And it's got crystals, specific crystals in the figure of 8. And underneath it, I've got a $5 bill from the United States. I just happened to have it in my purse the day she gave me those, because I was just back from the States, the day she gave me those crystals. So I put them up there now. I try and dust around them, but I'm afraid to move them. You know, when you kind of believe in something, and it worked, because within 3 months of putting those there, I had my first live show in New York City.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and it was like my own show. It wasn't guessing anybody else's show. It was my own show. And that was just 3 months after putting my altar. So I think maybe it's more the law of attraction that I put them there, you know, that I was believing that this was going to work for me, that this was going to happen. And it just did. So I don't know, would you necessarily say that was crystals or more the law of attraction?
It could be the combination of both. It's what you believe in, Sandie, what's working for you.
Yeah, you know, and you have to. So let me see. Crystals reflect our innate knowledge. I sense it encourages our intuitive energy. Yeah, Christine, it's very true. And, you know, there's a crystal for everything. You know, I wouldn't know them all, but there is a crystal for everything.
That's another course for both of us.
Absolutely. Anya Marie says she places certain crystals inside my front door to keep out negativity, and it works. Yeah, that would be the black obsidian.
As well, amethyst is great for absorbing negative energies.
Is it the purple amethyst?
Yeah, and you can just pop it out then and clear it under a full moon.
I have them.
Moon.
They're probably a bit dusty. This is like an amethyst
tree. Beautiful.
Yeah, and I have a couple of other ones there. I have the healing one, the pink. I'm so bad for names. You know, the pink one for the healing.
Rose quartz.
Thank you very much. That's
the one. Love.
Yes.
But you could possibly, now you'd have to check it, Sandie, I don't want to tell you anything wrong, but you could possibly, some crystals you can put under cold water. Not sell it
when there's a full moon.
Yeah, but it would just even to dust it and clean, and you're re-energizing it. So it's important to have them re-energize that new, fresh, vibrant energy, and you'll attract more in. Yeah,
it's true. It's true. I'm just, love that story, Sandie. You're welcome, Gillian. Margaret uses them all the time. Colette says she met a lady she didn't know. She gave me a crystal and it changed so many things for her. Okay, I met a lady I didn't know. You gave me a crystal. It changed many things for me. Okay, yeah, and I think, you know, I do think that the crystals have some power in it. The way I describe it is this. I'm sorry to go off topic for a minute. But we all have an energy. We all vibrate at a rate, and we know about vibration and the way that the spirits vibrate at a different rate, and that's why we don't see them. So if you imagine a bird in the sky, okay, and you know it's flapping away, but we only see its body because its wings are flapping so quickly that we don't see it. So that's the vibration, and it's because spirits are vibrating so fast that we don't see them. So we're not the only things on earth that vibrates. I mean, everything around you has a vibration.
Yeah.
And like, you know, for people that come from the countryside, you know that farmers will plow a field and they'll pick the stones, but they could come out a day or two later and there'll still be as many stones in the field because they'll work their way up to the top, you know. So every rock and stone has its own vibration, and it's how that vibration interacts with your body's vibration that causes the healing energy. And every one of them has a different one. There is a powerful one that I get in from Spain sometimes. It's not easy to get, and it's called Apache's Tear. And the legend has it that it's actually the solidified tears from the Apache women, because the site where it's mined was where all the Apache men were driven over the cliff and killed. And when the women came out, they were hiding in the cave. And when they came out, all the men were dead. And they sat on the cliff and cried. And it's supposed to be the solidified tears of the Apache women. So this is a really good stone for grief, you know. So everything has a history, you know, where it comes from and everything. So, you know, research them or ask somebody that really knows, because I know I'm not an expert. Andrea probably knows a bit more than me, but she doesn't regard herself an expert either. Margaret Connolly says she uses them in the car all the time. Yeah, my friend sent me a little pouch of crystals when my son passed his driving test. And they're in his car. I don't always tell him they're in his car, but they are in his car. So people go, I'm not having that in my car. But I pop them into the car somewhere to keep him safe. And Christine is saying she loves the green on me. Thank you, Christine. Sorry, I want to come back to you, Andrea, because I went a bit off topic there when we were talking about the crystals. Yeah, no, I do believe in crystals, but I wouldn't know, I wouldn't feel qualified enough to tell people what they need. So I'd always refer on. Is there certain crystals for health conditions? Yeah, Jacinta, I'll give you a link afterwards. Will you message me, and I'll send you a link of someone that can help you with the crystals, because there's a few questions coming in about crystals. So I might actually have somebody on to talk about them, because there seems to be a lot of questions, and I do know somebody actually who's very well educated and has done a lot of research into the crystals. So that we'll keep that for another night, guys. Okay. So the other thing, and I don't want to cut it off and say you only do these three particular things, the healing, the life coaching, and the hypnotherapy, but these are the things I know about you. Okay. So I know we spoke a little bit about hypnotherapy last week, but you know, everybody works differently. And I believe you actually also do the hypnotherapy online.
I do the Calm Method online, and I do the Havening online. There's no actual difference other than me being physically in the room with you. You just take the instruction from me the same way you would when you're in the room with me. It works really, really well. And I've tried and tested it. I'm not just doing it since COVID, I'm doing it pre-COVID. Yeah. And the results are the same. And they are, you know, I have testimonials for it. And I'm just so happy these people, in particular women, have had this shift in their lives.
I agree.
I worked with somebody who's given me a testimonial actually on my own page. I did Havening. I did a combination because I knew what she needed each session. And she suffered fierce from anxiety. She doesn't anymore. So pre to her getting married, she actually says it in the testimonial, she just couldn't, you know, it was just coming bang out of the blue. So what I would say to anybody as well, identify if you suffer from anxiety or excess stress, identify what your triggers are. Do you know what they are? Is it a person, a place, a situation, a thing, an event, a relationship? Is it a working relationship in your job? So once you identify those triggers, it could even be down to caffeine. It could be down to alcohol. Again, I really like working with people to reduce or get off alcohol altogether, quit it altogether. Or, you know, would it be down to a medication that they're taking? That's some people, it's usually not one medication they're on. They could be a couple, and they could be kind of grating against each other. But once you identify your triggers, it's like a big light bulb moment going off with you. And you can change how you approach that person, that situation, or that event. So sometimes when we're very down and we're very anxious, we can be very closed, and your body can be like that. And your aura literally shrinks into you. It's particularly if you're after having a shock or there's been an accident. It'll shrink like shrink wrap to you, like vacuumed. When you're that closed, everything is going to impact you so much more. So another tip for you will be to open yourself up. So your posture, just imagine a string coming out there and your posture is changed. You're open, you're expanding your lungs, you're going to be able to breathe more easily. And another thing is, if you're anxious, stressed, or down, sad, or depressed, chin up. There is wisdom in those old words. Chin up, look up. You're taking yourself out of that lower vibrational, looking up above, step out of the situation.
Yeah.
You know?
I call that looking forward. Stop looking to the side of what other people are doing. Stop looking behind you. You're not going that direction. Look forward.
You can never, ever change your past. You can address it. You can learn from it, but it's going to help you move forward. Yeah. So that's where you're building up your resilience all the time from your past. You can't do. We don't have time machines.
No, we don't.
We don't. And hindsight is amazing.
That's it. Well, that scientist guy, God, it was Paul was saying it last week, that he says, you know, time travel would only be possible going forward anyway, that we couldn't go back. So there's no point in thinking about it, you know. Yeah. So what are people asking? So there's a lot of questions about crystals. So I don't think, I'm definitely going to have somebody on to talk about.
Oh, it is, Sandie. It's a sign for sure.
Yeah. And Christine is saying, it was lovely to meet you. She loves distance energy healing and online connections, and she sometimes prefers it and highly recommends people to try online consultations. You know, I was talking to somebody about that the other day, and, you know, about the online consultations, and I actually think it's brilliant, and it's a huge step forward because, you know, like we are Irish, and a lot of us will come from, you know, smaller towns, areas where we're known by everybody. And, you know, this thing of going into a counselor or a hypnotherapist, I think, oh, there's something wrong with that person. There's something wrong with her. She's going in for hypnotherapy, if you don't mind. You know, so to be able to get it online, you know, or to have counseling online, it's just amazing, isn't it? It makes all the difference.
It is. It makes it so much more accessible for people, and they're not worrying, you know, about booking someone in a different side of the county, or if, you know, I've worked with people in the locality, and they're like, oh my God, if anybody sees me. Now you don't have that. Nobody knows. Nobody would know anyway. But that's the fear within themselves.
It is. It is. And as well as that, everything, you know, makes you emotional when you're really working through something. I would say 90% of the people that I read for leave here crying, or, you know, are crying by the end of their session. And I'm sure you find something similar.
Oh, yeah,
it's release of emotion.
Yeah, even during a session, and sometimes it's too hard.
Yeah.
And you're going, well, I never said it's going to be particularly easy for you, but it can be easier if you just finish this little bit. So you're there, you're guiding them, you're helping them. It's a process. As I say to them, this is a process. You know, you might have 50 years of anxiety there built up. And sometimes, unfortunately, they expect a quick fix, you know, and we can on occasion do that, but I certainly don't promise anything like that. But you're saying it's a process. The release of that crying, you're shifting that dense negative energy.
Yeah.
Don't hold back your tears, let them flow. Welcome in all this new wonderful stuff that's going to come into your life to enhance it.
And all people do when they start crying, I'm so sorry, you must think I'm cracked. And I'm saying, no, like everybody cries. And you know what? It used to upset me. Remember when I had people to the house first, and people would leave here, they'd be crying, I'd be crying, or I'd be at a fair and someone would start crying and I'd start crying. And I'd say, people must think I'm awful, that I'm doing something to people. And my husband said, no, he said, it's obviously a good sign, because, you know, you're making a difference. Yeah. You know, you're getting there with them. So I think it's always a good thing, you know, when there's that.
Totally. Any type of a release that comes out of them is a definite shift in energy, and it's a positive shift. When we were training in the bioenergy, people were burping a lot, people were passing wind a lot.
Really?
It's a shift in energy.
That's true.
It's good. It's good, you know.
Absolutely. Anything that helps is good.
Yeah, better out than in.
Andrea, it's been such a pleasure to have you on. I kept you a lot longer than I promised you I'd keep you, but the time flies.
Pleasure. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Absolutely. Now, I forgot to your Facebook page at the top, so I'll amend that as soon as we're finished to include your Facebook page, that people can go directly to your Facebook page if they want more information on what you do. Do you have a telephone number that you publish?
I do.
Do you want to call it out, and I'll put that on as well?
So that is 087
087
63 98
98
499. And for anyone dialing outside Ireland, just do 353 8763 98499.
Perfect. And do you have WhatsApp?
I do have WhatsApp, yes. And
I know a lot of people use WhatsApp now.
Yeah, I do use Zoom sessions, you know.
Zoom sessions, but if they're just calling you, especially if they're calling from outside the country, that the WhatsApp is great. And people are agreeing that there's a lot of a shift with energy, and the letting go is a great relief.
Yeah.
So look, thanks so much, Andrea. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I don't know about the rest of the people watching, but I've learned loads. So thanks a million. You've been a rock star.
Thank you.
And we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Pleasure's all mine. Bye. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.